part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, you definitely have to go watch part 1. I'm not going to put the link in the description of every video. You can just click on my icon. It's that simple. Anyway. Sorry, I'm trying not to be aggressive. I definitely have to not be that. We're still working through Ocarina of Time. We're 4 dungeons in. Here's the Fire Temple. Here's the thing. I said in my ranking video games video that I have not played Ocarina of Time, and I've only been through it once. I've only been through Fire Temple once, and I enjoyed it. A lot of people don't like it, but I enjoyed it. You know, again, I can't say this enough. I am still a linear person. I like linear games and linear dungeons. You know, I'm gonna enjoy. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna enjoy dungeons such as this dungeon, Dragon Roost Cavern from Wind Waker, or like Forest Temple, I guess. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the atmosphere of the Fire Temple, and a couple of the puzzles are very frustrating. But that's really all of the bad I can say about Fire Temple. You know, I love combat. I love the combat in Zelda. That's mainly what I play it for. I play Zelda for the dungeons and combat. I love the combat. A couple of the better puzzles are good. Again, people say, "Oh, freeing the Gorons is just so monotonous," but the Gorons are more like the after effect of your exploration. It's nice to be linearly exploring this cool place. The music isn't great, but that's kind of it. As long as I don't know, just Fire Temple, it's fun. You know, I don't think it's as good as Dodongo's Cavern. I feel like it's pretty much Dodongo's Cavern. It's pretty much a repeat, but I don't mind that because it's been quite a while since I played Dodongo's Cavern. By the time I get to the Fire Temple. Controversial warning. Water Temple. Before I say anything, I'm putting it right here. Oops, right here. Water Temple. Ocarina of Time. Now again, I said in my last video, I have only played the 3D version. I am sure that in the original, the Water Temple is much worse. That makes sense to me, because you gotta keep going to the start screen and putting the iron boots and all that. But here's the thing about the Water Temple. While it isn't necessarily the most fun to do, to go through, the first time at least, when you think about it, when you really analyze the layout of the map and the keys and things, it's actually very well designed. The only design flaw, in my opinion, of this Water Temple is having to go up and play Zelda's Lullaby again and again. That's really the thing that I don't enjoy in Water Temple. Getting lost in a dungeon has never been a big problem to me. It has been a couple times, but only a couple times. It really depends on the dungeon. You know, Snowhead in Majora's Mask. You wanna know what I did when I got lost in that one? Again, I was playing on the 3DS version. What I did, I just skipped half the dungeon. By doing a very precise jump. And yes, I used save states. Stop laughing. But, anyway. Water Temple is great because, again, if you think about it, it's interesting because all you're doing, you're hookshotting everywhere, and you're finding all the places you can go. It's like a Metroid game, if you're a Metroid fan. Instead of just going around and doing things, you're finding where you can go, what you can do. And that's interesting. That's fun to me, you know? And there isn't a lot of combat in the Water Temple. It's mostly just puzzle solving. I'll say right now, if the Water Temple were in Majora's Mask, I would hate it with all my heart because again, I would get lost and I would hate it. Everybody would hate it even more than they already do. But I just I have fun playing the Water Temple. I've replayed it a couple times, once or twice. Um, I know I'm pretty much contradicting myself, but it's like I play at a save state, right? And I just go back to the save state when I want to do the Water Temple. That's how much I like it. I like it so much that I go back to it. And that's nice. I like doing that. But combat in Ocarina of Time is not at its most. It's not at its finest that Zelda's ever gone. But puzzle solving, it's kind of stayed the same quality-wise through most of the 3D Zelda games. Not all of them, but most of them. And Ocarina of Time is pretty in the middle. And yeah, using a guide, I do it sometimes. But I like to see how much I can do without using a guide. And it's very interesting. It's nice to do. But yeah, that's Water Temple. It's very nice. All right. Shadow Temple. Shadow Temple. Yeah, I feel like the first 3 dungeons, actually just the first 2 dungeons and the Water Temple are the only dungeons that I replay in Ocarina of Time 3D. So I've only played Shadow Temple once. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I enjoyed it. Okay. Yeah, I've only played Shadow Temple once. I thought it, yeah, it was. I liked the aesthetic. You know, everybody likes the aesthetic. The puzzles were nice. The combat was fine, but overall, I just realized that I was not holding my mic to my mouth. I don't think you could have heard any of that. But I just said that the puzzles were nice, and the combat was fine. But overall, I find the Shadow Temple to be kind of forgettable. You know, I just don't remember much about it. I remember there's a boat where you fight Stalfos. And I remember, like, the spinning blades and the Lens of Truth. And I remember that there were these hands that look a lot like Wall Masters, but they aren't. And I thought they were Wall Masters, but they weren't. And that's kind of all I remember. That's a shame. I'm sure the Shadow Temple is better than what I make it out to be, but unfortunately, because of how little I remember of it, I'm gonna have to put it in C tier. I'm gonna put it here actually, because I feel like, is the Forest Temple really that bad? I don't remember. I'm sorry, man. But so I never did the Spirit Temple or Ganon's Tower. So now we're gonna talk about the mini dungeons, and those are Ice Cavern and Bottom of the Well. Ice Cavern. I forgot everything about it. The only thing I remember is the only things I remember about Ice Cavern are the music, which is pretty good, and the sliding block puzzle, which you can see right here. I remember that. Yeah, as you can see, it looks kind of bad on the N64 version, but it looks a lot better in the 3D version. Anyway, I remember Blue Fire. I remember that people were in red ice, and I used Blue Fire on the king, and that's all I remember about the ice cavern. Kind of like Forest Temple. I just kind of saw it as a stepping stone and not as a landmark of how I got here. You know, it's just a forgettable thing. And unfortunately, you know, I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's not nearly as bad as Jabu Jabu's Belly. It's just forgettable. You know, Jabu Jabu's Belly is the one I hate. But I'm putting this lower than Jabu Jabu's Belly because I don't hate it, I just forget everything about it. I think it's objectively not a terrible dungeon, but it is not very good to me. Okay. Beneath the Well. When I played Ocarina of Time for the first time, I already knew about Beneath the Well. I knew, all the stuff about it, as well as Shadow Temple. But I went through it, and then I went through it, and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty confusing. It's kind of fun. You know what? I'm actually enjoying this. But it's not as forgettable as Ice Cavern. I have not really forgotten that much about it. I remember more. I remember there being a lot of enemies. I remember having to fight Redeads as a child, and it was not very fun. Redeads and Gibdos. But I enjoyed it. I really, really did. I'm gonna put it right here. These two are in contention. I'm not sure where it is, but I feel like I should probably put some from B to A because there's nothing in A. I'm gonna put these two into A. There we go. Alright, so there's Ocarina of Time. You got Ice Cavern in D, and Shadow Temple in B. And then in A, you got Water Temple in first, Deku Tree in second, and then you got Underneath the Well, and then Dodongo's Cavern and Fire Temple. And then in C, you've got Forest Temple, Shadow Temple, and Jabu Jabu's Belly, which has its honorary place as the last place. You know what? How about this? We'll move it into D. There we go. Alright. Majora's Mask time. Majora's Mask is... If I had to rate, all the Zelda games, I'd give Twilight Princess a 9.5 out of 10, and then I'd put Majora's Mask a 9.4 out of 10. So, in general, Majora's Mask is my second favorite Zelda game. But the dungeons are kind of lacking. I'll talk about them in the next episode. I feel like 12 minutes is a pretty good place to make these episodes for this series. That's good. See you next time.